All right, we're still in 8th grade skill functions. Let's do comparisons between linear functions. Can y'all see that?
No, the time's not on there.
You can't see it on the video.
And I knew that too. I knew that too.
We scooted back?
Looking at the outline of here.
Shut up.
Okay, so let's say functions.
Do you want to start over?
No. No. Functions versus equations. Okay. What do we know about functions and equations? So if I was going to make a T-chart, let's put functions characteristics over here. Well, we know the formula is f of x equals mx plus b. For equations, we use y equals mx plus b. Okay? We know the m in both. We know the m in both situations is considered the slope or the rate of change. When we're talking about functions, we call it the rate of change. When we're talking about linear equations, we call m the slope. They mean the same thing. The rate of change for functions may be a decimal. Okay? For slope, it's a fraction. Okay? We call this, the b, for functions, the initial value. In other words, that's your starting point. Over here, we call it the y-intercept. It is also your starting point. Okay? An equation might look like this. And a linear equation might look a little something like this. Okay? So kind of pick up on the similarities of functions and equations. And this is just something for you to reference when you're trying to identify vocabulary and compare relationships between the two, because they require us to do the same thing. It requires a lot of the same analytical abilities. It's just verbalized using different language sometimes. So try to make those connections as we continue to talk about functions and equations. And I'm going to make this all one video, because graph and slope-intercept form is fairly short. Okay? Still 8.f or 8.ee. Graphing in slope intercept form. Okay? Let me draw a graph. A graph. You can see my graph isn't the neatest, but it'll do in a rush. Hopefully we know how to label a graph. I have ran into kids who were on the upper level, but they still lack the foundation for labeling a number line, which is the prereq for graphing. Okay? If I give you, say this equation. The instructions are to graph. And I give you something like this. Y equals 2x minus 3. Your first step is to identify, we'll put the steps over here. Well, then I'll say I'll put the steps down. Identify and plot the y-intercept. That's step one. Look at your equation. We know the y-intercept is right here. That's our b in the equation. Okay? So if our y-intercept is at -3, the point is 0, 3. That's our b. And our m is 2, or 2 over 1, because slope has to be written as a fraction. So after you've identified and plotted the y-intercept, 0, -3 is right here. Okay? Use your slope. Rise first, then run. You probably say, what?
What?
Rise goes north to south. Run goes left to right. Okay? My slope is +2 over +1. So I'm going to rise first. I'm going to rise up 2 because that's a +2. So go back to your y-intercept. The top numbers are +2, so that means go up 2. 1, 2. Leave your finger right there. Don't plot it yet. Look at your bottom number. Now it's time for me to run. Since it's a +1, I'm going to run to the right 1 time. Go back to the y-intercept, do the opposite. I went up 2 to begin with, now go down 2. I went right 1, now go left 1. And there you are. There's your line, where your points to plot your line. And of course mine isn't the best it could be. I always take you a straight edge. And hopefully your line hits those points. And of course you connect to form a line. Name your line. You probably say, well, what you mean name your line? The name of your line is the linear equation you started with. Y equals 2x minus 3. And you want to write it right on top of the line. We identified and plotted the y-intercept. We used our slope. Our slope, which is m, is a whole number in this case. Well, you know how to make a whole number a fraction. Add a fraction bar and a 1 in the denominator. So the slope became 2 over 1. I started my y-intercept of 0, -3, excuse me. I rise 2 and run 1 to the right. I go back to my y-intercept. I fall 2 and go left 1 and connect the line. Well, how can I check it to see if these are the right points that goes on this line? Pull a point off the line. I know this point is at 1, -1. So I'm going to take 1, -1 to check it. Okay? And I didn't just pick any random point. I put my eyes, fix my eyes on this line. What points fall on this line? I know that one did. So I'm going to take this linear equation, y equals 2x minus 3. What do you think I'm going to do? Substitute it in. Here's the x, here's the y, and this is stuff y'all been doing from the get-go. I taught you substitution first. Two times 1 is 2 minus 3. Negative 1 equals 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Does negative 1 equal negative 1? Yes. So those are the correct points for that equation.